And now for something completely different.
All right, Metal-O-Maniacs, I'm telling you right now, there's something in the water in Australia because every week I'm telling you how badass metal's coming out of there, and I'm joined by my new pal from Australia. What's up there, brother? How are you today, sir?
Hey, young man.
You're making my day. Making my day, brother. Making my day, man. Well, I'll tell you what, to start, let's introduce yourself if you don't mind, brother.
I'm Chalky, and I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and my project is Militaria, and I've just released an album called Remains of Pain about last month, and it was a 10-year long process, but yeah, finally happened.
Man, I'll tell you what, thank God it did. It's been our soundtrack around here, brother, man. We've been living on you right now, brother. You're making me, helping me get through my days.
Excellent. No, that's cool. Thank you.
Well, you know, they say it takes a lifetime to make a debut album, and that sounds to be the case, right?
Yeah, it was, I guess that's kind of what you want to do when you're trying to prove yourself, you know, and you just want to working hard towards, you know, putting out, you know, your debut and trying to, you know, make sure it's a stamp, you know, and yeah, so.
And it
I mean, there were a lot of hurdles. There was a lot of hurdles along the way trying to get it done, and you know, I was in other bands as well, and you know, had other things going in life. But when I finally moved to Brisbane, I used to live in the Gold Coast, which is like an hour south. And when I finally moved to Brisbane, you know, it was closer to the scene, you know, around where I am and all the bands and everything. So I finally just said, hey, look, you know, all the vocals that I want on the album, you know, from all the guest vocals from all the bands in the scene and the solos, I'm just like, all right, let's just make this happen. You know, I've got like, you know, 2 more albums worth of material sitting there, and I've got to like just pump out this first album and make it happen. So
right, man, like get it out into the world, goddamn it.
That's it.
That's well. Who are some of the background players that helped you bring this thing to light?
Yes, so it's a bunch of like local Brisbane thrash bands like Wartooth. They've just put an album out last year, and it's been getting around quite a bit.
Yeah, we love Wartooth.
Hell yeah, man! Yeah, so Andy from Wartooth did some vocals, and actually I just finished yesterday filming like parts for a music video for that song that he's on. It's called Devastation Obsession, and yeah, I just finished filming like all the drumming and the guitaring and bass parts, and next week we're going to try and get him to do his vocal bits, and yeah, so
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've got there's quite a few other bands. There's Idle Ruin, Bone Marrow. There's just a whole bunch of local Brisbane bands. Asylum, Odious, my band. I've got a bunch of my boys on there too.
Fuck
and
yeah,
just plenty of Brisbane bands, and there's a couple of other bands from around Australia, and I think the next album I'm trying to like branch out to the rest of Australia, and a lot of bands that I'm good mates with, like Hidden Intent and Mason, and then eventually by the third album, hopefully I'll get out to the world. So
oh man, well, if Remains with Pain is step one, brother, then it's happening, man, because holy shit. I definitely want to dive into a little bit of your love of, well, the band, your project is called Militaria, and it's very themed, if you don't mind my noticing, brother. You got some, well, my first introduction to it was the song Huey, in fact, which we played on the show a few weeks back.
Yep.
Fantastic, badassery, cool imagery, by the way.
Thank you.
What was it about the military? Obviously, you know, it's rife for material, and you've mined it very well. So what was it that drew you to that?
Well, what inspired me to start this band was I was about 18, about 10, 12 years ago now, and I stumbled across Sodom's Agent Orange album, and that album just like blew the doors open me, because before that I was really into like Metallica and Slayer and all that, but then when I heard that album, it just for some reason just like it spoke volumes to me, you know, especially hearing Agent Orange, the track, and just the subject matter behind it was just like, you know, the fact that the Vietnam War still to this day threatens, you know, and it still takes over people's lives, and you know, all the birth defects and everything. And so I read into it. I watched a bunch of movies around the Vietnam War and listened to M16, of course, and you know, Bolt Thrower and all those. And I don't know, there's something about war that's like it's probably one of the worst things to happen in humanity. It's always been there, and it's still going to be there. And I guess, you know, it's sort of like a anti-war album, just saying, look, war sucks. You know, and this is just how brutal it gets, you know, and it's just, you know, basically pointing out how brutal war can get. So
right,
yeah.
Why do we do the things to each other we do, brother? It's crazy.
That's it. Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, me.
But
either,
but yeah, it's just sort of been a bit of an interest of mine over the years, and I just kind of wanted to get a concept album out of the way, and you know, the next one will just tap into a lot of you know, themes around war and just in general, and like probably cover a lot of like older wars like World War II and all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of crazy things that happen around that time, and yeah, so it's just a bit of a history lesson, I guess, too. And you know, there's plenty of bands out there that are doing it, and I just want a bit of I just want my little piece in there. And I think I said too, musically, I try and capture war in the music as well. Like I'm trying to like, I mean, I've been told that like the start of Huey, like, you know, with the double kicks, it kind of sounds like a Huey like coming down the land, you know, and like with obviously with like all the war chatter and stuff in there. I don't know, I'm just trying to make it sort of like a soundtrack to a sort of a war, you know, movie or a game or something. So yeah,
successfully done, brother.
Thank you.
Successfully, yeah. I take the trip with you, man. I listened to the album start to finish. For people out there who haven't picked it up yet, Remains with Pain. Pick this up, guys. Militaria. It's so fucking badass. It's literally 45 minutes of badassery, man. It opens up with a kick-ass instrumental. I believe that's Vietnam, right? Vietnam is the instrumental, 1966. It closes with epic fucking instrumental, Ceasefire, Ataraxia, which is I play that every single day since we picked this up, by the way. So
fuck yeah, thank you. I put a lot of work into that instrumental, and I definitely took a lot of influence from mainly from To Live Is To Die by Metallica, but also by Vector, because I found Vector a few years ago, and their album Terminal Redux just was insane. Like Recharging the Void, you know, blew my mind, because there was you know, all that soul singing going on. I was like, you can do that in thrash. There's like all these elements that I'd never really heard of before in thrash, and I was just like, wow, I've got to do a little bit of that myself. So yeah, I got Sam from Seraphic to come in and do some like, you know, like her sort of vocal singing, and just had acoustic guitars and like going, and yeah, so I just try to make this like monstrous like closer. So
it is silly. It's funny you should mention Vector. I said there's elements of that in there too, but to Bongwood here in the studio. We're huge Vector guys, right? Terminal Redux to me is insane.
Fucking so good. I think it was like the album of the decade for me. It was just unbelievable. And I still listen to that album, and it's just like, it blows my mind every time I listen to it. Like I just can't get enough of it.
Me too, man. I gotta hang out with you, brother. We got similar tastes here. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Terminal Redux album of the decade. I'm with you on that, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Where is the best place? Everybody out there right now is like, all right, they got me tuned up. I need to hear this fucking Militaria. I need Remains with Pain in my life. What's the best place for you? What's the best place for you personally if you want to go to?
It's on Bandcamp. I've got CDs for sale as well. And it's also on Spotify too, and YouTube. It's pretty much everywhere. I've got it on like Apple Music, iTunes, and Amazon Music and all that. So yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. You just got to look it up. Militaria, Remains with Pain.
Yeah, I did the Bandcamp thing because I looked into having physical copies sent from Australia is a little exorbitant, a little pricey at the moment. So we'll revisit that. Now that this has hit the world, what happens now? I know that in your part of the world, my biggest question whenever I talk to somebody that kind of does these, for lack of a better, I know it's not a one-man project. I almost feel weird saying that because it obviously takes more than that to make something happen. But let's call it a one-man project for conversation purposes.
Yep.
How do you translate that to a stage? Are you able to do that? Is it a project? Is it a studio-only project, and that's its intent from the start? Or do you hope to bring some of these songs to a stage? Would Odious maybe play a few? Or, I mean, what is your...
That's interesting. For the, like the night before I put it out on June 12th, I played, I did like an album launch show. And I actually played along to the whole album on guitar, and I even had some of the guest musicians come up and do their vocal parts. And I was pretty excited after just doing that one little show, because it was actually quite cool. There was a lot of people that turned up, and it went really well, because I figured, if I was going to do an album launch, instead of just having the CD play and everyone's sort of sitting there not really listening to too well, I just wanted to have something for people to watch and actually tune into and focus. So I got up there and just belted the guitar. And, it's funny too, because it was the first time I played guitar on stage as well. So, because, I'm a drummer. So,
right.
yeah, it was a lot of fun to actually get up there and run around for once and not be seated the whole time. But yeah, after that, I was like, it'd be pretty cool to like just sort of do a few shows around Australia with this. And I mean, I try to hit up a bunch of friends from around the country and get things happening, but with COVID going on, and it's just really hard to sort of like lock down dates, and they keep getting moved back and everything. So I'm just going to sort of just let it sit for a while and see what happens. But I'm hoping that eventually I will do that. But at the same time, I've also have been considering maybe making it an actual full band. And I'll just, play rhythm guitar, and everyone else sort of, I just got to find a really good vocalist that can kind of do everything, from the growls to the thrashy voices, and then someone who can really shred, because I definitely can't solo. So I'm going to need someone who can fucking, do it all. Yeah, pretty much. And someone who can play very fucking fast, because I want to make sure my next album's even faster and crazier. So
I like fast and crazy, brother. I'm very drawn to both.
But there's definitely there's no limit on making it a live thing. I'd definitely love to, and it's just a matter of time. But for now, it's definitely just a studio thing. But eventually, I'll never say never on making it a live touring band. So
yeah, man, getting on the stage. We were going through some of your social media stuff in the studio the other day, and Scully walked by and was like, "Hey, he's playing drums. Hey, he's playing guitar. Oh, that dude does everything, doesn't he?" I was like, "Hey, he does it all." I'm telling all you metalheads out there, pick it up, get Remains with Pain, go to Bandcamp, go to Amazon, hit up Chalky on Facebook and say, "Hey man, I just saw you on Metal-O-Mania and I'd like a copy of that damn thing."
I'll be happy to give it to you.
Yeah. Well, Chalky, you kick ass, man. I appreciate your time more than you know, and I appreciate the fuck out of you coming and hanging out with us here at Metal-O-Mania, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. Hey, this is Chalky from Militaria, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania with Decrypt and Scully.
From our standpoint, I can only tell you one thing for sure, and that is that there are a lot of people out there who are not friendly to it.
Make you horny.
It tastes like honey. It really.
That's what it is.
Honestly,
It's an aphrodisiac.
I'm flushed. I'm horny for the history.
Yes.
It's so interesting.
Yes, horny for the history.
Okay, this is what we got.